Welcome to IHIP News. Pumps, what you got?
Okay, so I wanted to talk about President Jimmy Carter's funeral yesterday. There were a lot of passive-aggressive nature. There was a lot of very bad makeup, not only by Trump, who just looked awful asleep. Melania looked like shit too.
I cannot get enough of this. It's like the Real Housewives of Jimmy Carter's funeral.
Right, it was.
All due respect to Jimmy Carter, he's probably the only person of faith that I have ever seen that I'm like,
He acted it.
I kind of want a piece of that. Nobody else that I've ever met
Right.
that's religious have I thought, I want a piece of that. So R.I.P. Jimmy Carter. Let's get to the tea. I could not get enough of all of the interactions.
No, they were great. And what was so great, there were two things that just really made me happy. George W. Bush, who I'm not in love with, but he snubbed Melania and Trump so hard. And Obama bounced up, and he, as this video will show, he like hit him in the stomach. And there was a real cordial, warm greeting. It was
like a bro tap.
It was a bro tap. Mm-hmm. Nothing. It was like Donald Trump wasn't there. So I love that. Loved that. The second video that I loved was Mother Pence.
Karen.
Melania and Trump walked by, and she did not look up. No sign of respect. Of course, Puss Boy shook his hand. But I mean, the absolute death cold shoulder.
All right, let's show that video right here.
Leland, good morning to you. We can see President-elect Trump now entering the room for this morning's service.
Al Gore, Mike Pence there with former President Trump. I'm not sure former Vice President Pence and Donald Trump have seen each other since.
All right, so here's what I want to say on this is I know that a lot of people will say, oh, the I've Had It ladies, the IHIP News ladies were so upset about the Nebraska senator's husband not shaking Kamala's hand, and then they're just dunking and celebrating Karen Pence not shaking Trump's hand. And what I have to say to that is a false equivalency. With the instance of Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, she has never sent a mob in that threatened to want to hang either one of them.
Right.
And so I did not realize that Karen Pence had that kind of game.
No, I didn't either. I was surprised.
I mean, I would think all of these people are so obsequious. I thought she just would have hopped up and shook his hand. So I was kind of, I can't believe I'm going to say this, mildly proud of Karen Pence.
Mildly impressed.
Of AKA Mother. Now, of course, Pence, he got up. It was kind of a half-ass handshake, but wasn't he seated next to Al Gore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just interesting in that Kamala Harris switched her and Doug. So she wasn't seated closer to Trump, which I loved that.
I want to tell you this. You and I predicted a long time ago during the race that Trump was kind of obsessed with Kamala, and maybe even because he never attacked her appearance. It was because that's his number one go-to,
Especially with women.
So as the vice president walks in, Trump is like full blown, like staring her down. And he's sitting there, of course, next to Obama, but he kind of keeps his eyes on her. And I just thought it was kind of interesting because I've always kind of thought that she's the type of woman that he would kind of like. He donated to her campaign when she was in California running for district attorney, I believe, or maybe it was attorney general.
I can't remember.
But I thought that was really interesting. And then this video here with Obama and Trump chit-chatting and kind of laughing. And before we play the video, I kind of want to talk about kind of how I think this went down. And here's what I think happened. I think Kamala's like, listen up, motherfuckers, because that's her favorite cuss word,
right?
Is motherfucker.
Which we
listen up,
appreciate.
motherfuckers. I am not sitting by him. And Hillary Clinton's like, I am not sitting by him. He stinks. You never know if his diaper is going to have been changed.
Right.
Al Gore's like, I'm out. Mike Pence and Mother are like, we're not doing it. George W. Bush is like, no fucking way am I sitting next to that guy. And Obama was like, fuck it.
I'll do it.
I'll do it. And so then there was a lot of hubbub, like people that were upset because Obama was smiling and or chuckling. And here's what I have to say when you're in that situation. If you're sitting there and you're Barack Obama, he just doesn't have it in his DNA to be like super cold. And to me, I kind of felt like it looked like he was like babysitting, like a kid was talking and he was like,
Well, and Trump was almost in his lap, leaning over.
Oh, the body language experts. I mean, Trump, you can tell secretly very much idolizes Obama. But let's play that clip. So did you notice in this clip that Kamala hears them chuckling? She hears the camaraderie or the conversation between Obama and Trump, and she turns around and looks at them and then turns back around and is just utterly disgusted. And I thought, I love that woman.
I love her. I love her so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is a class act. There's no
Did you see that?
I did not notice that in particular, that look. I did notice she and Doug were giving each other the eye like, can you fucking believe that this is all happening? But the thing that I liked most was that when the Carter Center put up pictures from the funeral on social media talking about Jimmy Carter, they took a photo that blocked Trump and Melania. And to that I say, kudos.
I tell you what, the shade in that.
They gave them so much shade.
It is so good because here's the situation. Melania and Donald look like hammered dog shit.
But I could not believe how bad she looked.
God only knows what they smell like. I don't know if her stylist was off. I don't know what the deal was, but watching all of the dynamics of all of that going down. But here's what kind of broke my heart to get off of the juiciness of this and get to a little bit of meat of this. Here's what kind of really broke my heart is I looked at all of that and I saw Al Gore. He was really like, he would have been like the first Green president.
Right.
And he really genuinely won. He beat George W. Bush. And then it would have gone Al Gore, and then it should have gone to Obama, and then Hillary Clinton, and then Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. How much more progress as a nation we would have right now? Would we be perfect? No, but we wouldn't be in this. We wouldn't have near as much debt. The income disparity wouldn't be so great.
Right.
Climate change would at least have a massive plan, and we would be well over 10 years into that plan, well over 15 years into that plan. And when you look at that and you look at how each of those elections went, you see that everything tanked under the Republicans that were sitting there, namely W and Trump.
Absolutely. And another thing I think about when you look at that picture of what it could have been is where we'd be in terms of human rights in this country. I feel like that the cruelty, we'd still have the cruelty. I don't think we'd have the common enemy created out of immigrants and Black and brown communities. Women would have never lost their rights to reproductive freedom. I mean, it's just, we wouldn't be discussing fucking book banning in the United States of America under those administrations. So it's, you look at that and you think that's opportunities lost.
It is really, really sad. And when you look at the 8 years that W had and then the 4 years of Trump, and you look at the destruction economically to human rights, to marginalized groups, and to the deficits, it's really, really it's terrible. If the people that would have won, that should have won, Gore, then Obama, then Clinton, then Harris, Biden, then Harris, the wages, you wouldn't have $7.25 minimum wage anymore.
I just read today that the Republicans are planning on introducing legislation to get rid of the $35 insulin. You know, I mean, it's like probably all Medicare and drug insurance companies being able to control the market value on all these meds, that probably would have happened long before this, you know, long before Biden. had that been the order of presidency. But instead, we're going after senior. We're doing the whole thing now.
All right, guys, we'll see you all later.